Hello and welcome everyone to our first Prison Leavers podcast with Release Mates with a guest. And we're in beautiful St Anne's in Lancashire with John. John, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you, yeah.
Nice to be out in the sun.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
John, who are you and where are you from?
My name's John Connolly. I'm originally from Scotland. I moved to York many moons ago, and now I'm in Preston.
Right, okay. Thanks for joining us today, John. We're going to discuss, if it's all right with you, a little bit about your history, about your past, where you are now, and the journey. I think the important bit is the journey between the two.
Yeah, brilliant.
So you won't be on a Prison Leavers podcast if you haven't been to prison.
No.
How many times have you been to prison, John?
Oh, I've lost count. I started when I was around 16, 17, and I finished January last year.
Wow.
So yeah, I've done a lot.
So when you're going back to when you were like 16, 17, was that like petty offending at that point?
Yeah, like criminal damages, thefts,
right,
driving offences, and like driving with no licence, insurance and stuff like that. And then obviously it progressed to like worse crimes and stuff.
So I suppose at that age, were you sent to young offenders?
Yeah, I got sent to a place in Wetherby.
Wetherby?
Yeah.
I've heard of that before. I've seen something about that before. So what's young offenders like? What was it like going into prison at that age, that's so young?
Well, when I first went, I didn't get sent straight to Wetherby, so I got sent to Doncaster. So Doncaster was shared. It was like young offenders and adults.
Wow.
So being at a young age and rolling up in an adult jail full of big blokes, muscly blokes and stuff like that, it's quite daunting. But I only spent a couple of months there on remand. Then I got transferred to Wetherby.
Right.
But, it's like gladiator school. You know, everybody's got something to prove. And
I can't imagine how that'd feel. I can't imagine being 16 or 17 again and being locked up in a man's jail. And I think, you and I know, don't we, that prison's a bit different now to how it was then. Were you scared?
I'm not going to butter it up. I was petrified.
Yeah.
I hated it. You know what I mean? I was took away from the outside, took away from like my mum and stuff like that.
Right.
To be put in a place where everybody needs to prove something.
Yeah.
So it was day to day. It was like the smallest thing could erupt into a full-blown argument where you're having to fight somebody, or if you're not a fighter, you're going to get battered by somebody. And it was always like people trying to bully other people. You know, like you look for like the weakest link, don't you?
Yeah,
as soon as people see the weakest link, you're knackered basically.
Yeah.
You know, once one person starts, you've got everybody starting. So that's why I'm saying it's like gladiator school, because if you don't defend yourself and stick up for yourself, it will just like predator prey.
Can you remember, so when you go to prison, we know, perhaps the people watching might not know, you go for, if you're remanded, you go straight from the court and then you go to the prison or the institution that you go in. When you were in the reception area of that first prison you went to, can you remember how you felt? Can you remember your exact feelings while you were in the waiting cells?
Yeah, I felt like a scared little boy.
Yeah.
So you've got like, it's like officers are authority figures, aren't they? And it doesn't matter if you're like the nicest kid coming into prison and stuff, like you get treated like everybody else. And straight away, it's not like you go into a holiday camp where you're welcomed with smiles and everything like that. You're getting told what to do, when to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very daunting. And yeah, I didn't like it. Even till like, I didn't like it anytime, even when I wasn't a young kid. Going into a prison, it's
that moves me on nicely, because so I think a lot of people watching would think that, you're 16, 17, you've been put in prison and you're released, but you go back. So did it not scare you enough? What didn't work on that when you were a kid to stop you offending?
I had a problem with authority. Didn't matter who it was, police, probation, anything. The jail petrifies people. Do you know what I mean? It scared me. I didn't want to go back and stuff. But
Yeah.
when you get out and you're on license and stuff like that, the smallest thing will send you straight back in. So a lot of the time it's like a revolving door.
Right.
You know, so it don't matter if you don't like the place, you're still going to get sent back.
Yeah. For those people watching who might not know what a license is when you release from prison halfway through your life, what is a license? What?
So your license is like, it's a group of rules what you have to abide by, set by the Home Office. So you'll be given a probation officer,
Right.
and they'll set you like tasks, and you have to follow these tasks. If you don't follow them, they'll give you a warning. And if you keep not following what they're asking you to do, they'll give you like a written warning.
Right.
So you basically get like 3 warnings or
Yeah.
2 warnings. I don't know what it is these days, but then they'll recall you straight back to prison.
Wow. And that was the cycle, was it? It was just prison, release, prison, release, prison, release.
Yeah, pretty much for me. Yeah, there's been times where I've been released from prison with nobody there to help me.
Right.
So I was like better off in jail
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I had nothing on the outside world.
I hear a lot of people saying that. I hear a lot of people saying that, you know, people who are involved in that cycle of crime, when it comes to winter time and they've got no home or anything,
Yeah,
they go and throw a brick through a window or something to get sent back to prison. It's a tragic state, isn't it?
yeah, it's sad because there is a lot of people that don't have family and have that like support network on the outside. So, and if you've got a local authority, it can't really do much for somebody. They do want to go back to jail because they get 3 square meals a day.
Yeah.
They've got a roof, they've got a bed, they've got running water,
Mm.
they've got no real worries.
So how long I know how old you are now, obviously, but how long were you in and out of prison for?
So I'm 39 now.
That's 22
20
years.
odd years, yeah.
Wow.
20 odd years I've
Wow.
been in and out of jail, and I think, like, don't quote me on it, I'm not like 100% sure, but I think I've had 4.5 years out.
Okay.
And I don't mean I've had that 4.5 years all in one go.
Oh, right.
It's been
right.
like just little blibs and blabs out, a few weeks, couple
So
of
out
months.
of the last 22 years, at tops, you've spent
I've done about
17 years in prison.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
it's not good really, is it?
No, and you know, I think like with anything in life, there's negatives and positives, aren't there? And
Yeah.
the positive is you're out now, and you know you've been out for a while. We'll come on to that in a bit. Moving on to the male prison estate, when you're growing up a bit, how many men's prisons have you been in?
About 9.
9 different
Yeah.
prisons. 9 different prisons. Wow. You're allowed to say which was the worst, or do you not want to say just in case you don't want you go back?
Well, I don't plan on going back, everybody. But I'd probably say the worst jail I've been to will be like the East Yorkshire ones. Now I can give you 2 straight away:
Right.
HMP Hull and HMP Humber.
Right.
If any is a planning, which I hope you are, going to jail, avoid them jails at all costs.
Right. I think if you spent that much time in prison, what's the longest sentence you've done?
I got given 5 years.
5 years. Did you serve 5 or were you in?
I did the halfway mark, like you do.
You did 2.5.
Yeah. Then I got out. Then I was recalled.
Wow.
So
okay.
I basically did 4.5 out of the 5.
Okay. And in all the time you've been in prison, on all the sentences you've been on, in terms of rehabilitation, has prison done anything for you? Work, employment, training?
It's over the years, yeah, I did. So I didn't finish school and stuff, so I managed to get like my education and stuff like that through jail. I did get a lot of courses done. Like I got on the track engineer through jail and stuff like that. I'm a bio-trained cleaner through jail and stuff. So there is a lot of positives from going to jail if you choose to use.
To engage in
Yeah.
it. Yeah. My experience, of jail, of people who go to jail, is that the jails in this country aren't full of bad people. They're full of people who've done bad things, and normally underlying the reason for doing those bad things, you know, there's normally a reason for doing that. What would you say that is your underlying issue? Is there a root cause there that caused you to commit offences?
I think like broken family. See, I left home when I was 14.
Right.
So straight away I was involved in like the criminal world straight, you know, from a young age, like survival of the fittest and stuff. If I wanted to eat and stuff, I had to
I see.
offend to eat, basically. And I think the other ones like drug habit and stuff like that, you know, to feed a drug habit I had to have money. Now,
when did you start using drugs?
I started smoking cannabis and stuff when I was about 12, 13.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I progressed from like cannabis to like taking pills on a weekend, amphetamines and stuff like that. But then when I got to a bit of an older age, like 18, I started messing about with like Class A's and stuff like that, which put me on a very bad downward spiral, you know, because the life wreckers, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. And generally speaking, would you say that addiction has been at the root of your offending? Is that the reason why you offend, to get money to pay for the drugs?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think. Yeah, if I didn't have, I think I'd have sorted my head out years ago. If I didn't find like Class A drugs and stuff like that.
Right. Got a lot to answer for, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Got a lot to answer for. So we'll move on now to so you know you're in addiction, you're in prison, you know you've got a drug problem. Was there a prison anywhere that helped you with your addiction? Did you get help with recovery from addiction whilst you were in prison?
Yeah, you do. There's a lot of jails out there that do help. Well, all jails have to help with addiction. Do you know what I mean? You'll go on to like a program, you know, like to wean you off the drugs and stuff. But then once they've weaned you off the drugs, then you've got to wean yourself off the medication what they give you.
Right.
But I can't really complain on the drug services in jail, that side of things. Some jails are better than others. Some do more than what others do. But I think my best experiences with like drug services was HMP Preston.
Well, yeah, that's where we know each other from, isn't it, Preston? Were you on the? Because they have a wing at Preston, don't they?
That is just called Phoenix.
I think it's called G-Wing. G-Wing, yeah.
Yeah, I did a bit of G-Wing.
Right. How was that for you?
I liked it, because it was just all about recovery. So you were separated from the other side of the jail.
Yeah.
So you couldn't actually see anybody from the other side of the jail. Even when you was getting transported to healthcare, you was always like transported by recovery wing staff. So you couldn't run over to like a lad, you know, and stuff like that, because they try to keep you in a safe bubble, because they don't want you like having things passed from the other side of the jail. And the programs were good there. You know, every morning you'd wake up, you'd have to go up to the communal room. You'd have like a morning meeting where everyone will check in and see how they've been, how the night was and stuff like that. Then there was always doing like your AA meetings, your NA meetings, CA meetings, everything like that, you know. And yeah, it was
there's a community on there, isn't there? Yeah, I get that.
Even though you're in jail, it felt a bit different, because these were like your own little community. Yeah. So it was like HMP Preston Prison, but we're G-Wing Town.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I liked it, it works.
It was funny though, because you just brought back something for me then, because I was on G-Wing the same way. I wasn't on G-Wing with John, but we both were on that wing. And when you just said then that you have that morning meeting and you discuss how your night was, and it's exactly the same as the man in the cell next door to you, because everyone's night is exactly the same, isn't it? You're watching one of 5 TV channels, and you're going to sleep at 9 o'clock.
But you all still say something completely different.
Yeah. What? I mean, you know, to spend 20 years in prison, you must have. What's the scariest thing you've seen in prison?
Oh, I've seen people be melted. like with
Explain to people what melted is.
so they'll get like a jug of boiling water and they'll add like sugar to it or butter to it, and they'll basically chuck it over someone, pour it over someone, and the sugar and the butter will stick to the skin. So
Right.
then when the person's in agony and they hold the face, when they lift their hands away, it basically peels the skin off with it.
Wow.
Or like, I've seen people being slashed across the face, but they'll do it with like 2 blades in a toothbrush or a knife or something.
There's a reason for doing that, isn't there?
Yeah, so if you use 2 blades and you come down your face, it's harder to stitch up.
Yeah.
So they have to take away that middle part of skin.
Wow.
And, you know, but it leaves a nasty, nasty scar. It's bad.
So speaking of leaving nasty scars, does seeing stuff like that leave an effect on you?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah, because it's, even now, like the last time I seen someone hot watered was over 10 years ago, and I still sometimes dream about that.
Wow.
You know, one of my friends who was slashed, I still dream about that.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen people riot in jail and stuff like that. That still brings back memories and stuff. And I actually got diagnosed with PTSD and all that through my prison life and stuff.
So serving time in prison has left you with PTSD from what you've seen.
Yeah.
So it served the exact opposite purpose to what it's meant to
Yeah,
serve. isn't it?
basically, yeah.
That's scary. Everyone I know who's been to prison, which is a lot of people, everyone has funny stories, everyone has good memories of prison, and I think a lot of people watching won't appreciate that, won't go,
No, because people believe that jail's for a punishment,
yeah,
but you might crucify me for this, but I've had some of my best times in my life in prison with some lads and stuff.
Well, you spent half of it there, so you're bound to, aren't you?
But there's been loads of, I can't pinpoint a single time, do you know what I mean? Because yeah, we're in jail. Remember, we're in jail as the punishment. We're not in jail to be then further punished.
Yeah.
So we've already had everything taken away from us and stuff. So you do end up building a good relationship with people and stuff like that. And you've got to make your time as easy as possible.
Yeah.
You know, so it's about having a laugh with the lads and that, like standing on the landing, just talking a lot of rubbish about the outside world, planning on what you're doing in a couple of years and stuff, even though you get out and you don't do it,
do
thing,
you?
no.
The amount of people I've sat in a prison cell where they were getting out, having a wife, big house, new build house in the country, 2.4 children and a BMW up the drive, and I've never seen one of them. But it's true, I mean, you raise a good point there. You make lifelong friends in prison, you know, don't you? I mean, there's lads who I was in prison with who I stay in touch with now, and, you know, it's great to hear that they're doing well. And of course, there's people, you'll know yourself, there's people who get out and don't do well. There's people, you and me both know, who you know, at this moment in time are struggling.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. So
Yeah.
what I'll move on to now is we'll skip the journey for now. We'll come on to that last.
Yeah.
How's life now? Talk me through a day in John's world today.
John's world's good at the moment. Yeah. I've got a lot going on, to be fair.
Excellent.
I've got.
So first of all, how's the addiction thing going?
I don't have an addiction anymore.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
excellent.
I've been clean. I've been clean only a couple of months this time.
Yeah.
Because I come into recovery June last year.
Yeah.
And I kind of let my ego take over, and it took me back out there. But I come back because, I didn't like that life. You know, even though I've had it all my life, and I'm not gonna lie, I have enjoyed being in addiction and stuff like that. But this time, couldn't stand it. Thought I need to do more. So,
I think it's commendable to say that, you know, to admit on camera, you know, your ego takes over, because it takes a big man to admit his faults and his, you know, the mistakes he's made. So hats off to you for that.
Thank you.
We're here in beautiful St Anne's on a Saturday afternoon. And it wasn't that long ago that you were in a prison cell. Are you proud of yourself?
I am, yeah.
Good.
I come to say how far I've come, you know, because now I'm stuck in a cell, sweating me back out, spending an hour on the bell just to get a roll of toilet roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't complain, and yeah, we've got a good view, and yeah, it's nice.
It's good, isn't it? So I think you touched on before, all the times you've been to prison, you've never had any support when you're getting out, which ties in nicely with what we do at Release Mates. For people who don't know, John came along and joined Release Mates as a volunteer some time ago now. What is it about Release Mates that appealed to you? Why did you want to come and volunteer for us?
Because I've been in people's shoes, getting out with nothing, no support there, no one. It's the little things when that gate opens,
yeah,
and there's nobody there. So that feeling you get. So try and picture yourself. You stood behind a big, massive steel door, and it opens up, and no mum, no dad, no family, no girlfriend there, and that. It's a bit depressing. It's like you just want to turn around and walk straight back in.
It's strange, isn't it? Because every prisoner I've ever met, or ever been padded up with, all they talk about in the cell or on the landing is when they're getting out.
Yeah.
And then when you get out, you've just described it perfect, absolutely nail on the head there. The door's open and there's nothing there, is there?
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Well, that's why I wanted to get on board with you guys, because we're that support there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though we're only there to like support people with appointments and stuff like that, it gives them like a boost. You know, you got a couple of people bubbly, like, you know, being bubbly, us two bouncing up to getting that and meeting someone. It gives them that bouncing the step, doesn't it? Skipping the step, bouncing the step. It's
If Release Mates had been there, say halfway through your 20-year journey, do you think you'd have gone back to prison as much as you have done?
No, I don't think I would have done. Trust me, I think if I had a couple of people there to meet me years and years and years ago, I'd have been done with. Because that's just a bit of positivity straight away as soon as that gate opens. Instead of the gate opening and just be darkness and me there. You know, because that's what it's like. It's like dark. It's dark. You know what I mean?
But it's an unexpected darkness, isn't it? Because you're expecting a big fanfare of people when the gates open. And it doesn't matter whether you've been in for a week, 2 months, 2 years, whatever. There's just nothing there, and you're expecting this big fanfare, and that sinking feeling comes, doesn't it?
Well, you see all them videos online and that, don't you, of the guys that are getting out to all the mates and that there with the champagne and stuff like that, and it's people have got to remember as well, not a lot of people have that.
I've done over 100 releases now with Release Mates in male and female prisons, and I've never once seen a bottle of champagne.
No. See, I think it's just...
All I've seen is what you've described, pain and misery.
Made up. You know, people just do it for like the likes.
For TikTok.
Social media, you know. Because, guys are turning up in Hummers and Ranges and stuff like that. I just think, how much have you paid to rent that for the day?
I just want to touch on while you're here as well. We're grateful to have you at Release Mates. You've done a couple of releases with us, and there's more planned for the future, and you know we're looking forward to that. You've got another project that you're involved in at the moment, and I think it's only fair to have a quick mention of that. What's that involved with?
Oh, so I'm involved in opening a homeless shelter in October with the council and a company called Meme from London. So Meme stands for Making Every Adult Matter. So in Preston, they've only got like SWEP. So I can't actually remember what SWEP stands for, but it's basically bad weather. So they'll open like a church hall and stuff, and if the weather's bad enough, they'll do referrals. Then people have to go pick the referral up. If they've been risk assessed, if they pass the risk assessment, they'll get in for like the night. It's a blow up bed, sleeping bag and stuff like that. But it's shelter.
So say if you've committed, say, arson,
you
wouldn't?
No.
So you just left in the cold?
You're left out in the freezing cold, the rain. So we're opening a place. It's going to be open for 365 days a year. And yeah, I'm going to be doing research in the next week or 2 weeks or something, where I'm going to go around the actual homeless people. So it's not just me, the council, and me that are going, right, we're going to open it this way and that way. We're going to go around homeless
Excellent.
people, interview them and see what they want and how they want this place, because it's not for us, it's for them.
And that's massively important. That's massive. We did exactly the same with Release Mates when we set it up. We just set up a project and let the lads getting out of prison mould what we were going to do.
Yeah.
And if you do the same with me, you know, it'll work, because there's too many people out there saying they're doing brilliant, wonderful things, but nobody actually doing the work on the ground.
No.
And that's, you know,
It's like we're basically pushing against an open door.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's funding there and stuff, and we've basically got no restrictions.
Excellent.
So I'm really looking forward to it, because I've been there. I've been homeless myself.
Yeah.
So for me to, it's like with Release Mates as well. I've been in and out of jail, got out, so that's close to my heart. Then like the council thing with me, that's close to my heart as well. So I'm giving a lot back in a sense through the help and support I've had.
How important is giving back to your recovery from addiction?
Well, it's quite important to me, because all my life I've been tech.
Yeah.
Illegally or legally.
Yeah.
It's all been taken, and I've never really given anything back. So I'm getting to that age where, well, it don't matter what age you are, to be fair. I want to give something back. I want to show my support.
You are
to
doing.
people.
You are doing, and hats off to you for doing that. Absolute credit for you, mate. And you know, I've been out of prison for a similar length of time to you now, but it's always inspiring for me to hear stories, people like yourself, and it's been great having you on here today and sharing your story with us, John.
So I look like I'm crying as well. The wind's in my eye, you know.
I had someone crying with me yesterday on another thing we were doing. John, thanks so much for coming on board. Thanks for doing the podcast.
I appreciate you asking me.
We'll hopefully meet up again in a few months' time just to see where you're up to.
Yeah,
and how the homeless project's going. But all the best, mate. You take care.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Can I get a oh yeah?